What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. Today I'm excited to bring you my top carried knives of the week and talk a little bit about why they made it into the pocket or why I'm enjoying them. I am starting with a little bit of a caveat though, because the knife that I carried on Monday, which was the Monday Blues, is actually out for a little bit of a mod that I don't want to unveil or tease too much. So in place of that particular AD20.5, I am going to have my AD20 out here as a representative of it. But the reasons that I like the 20.5 is because it is very friendly for an EDC, because it is a thinner profile. It is a shrunken down version of this knife that is very easy to carry. I often at times can throw it into the pocket as a pocket dropper inside of one of my art company organizers with like a pin or a flashlight. They have really good action, multiple means of deployment. The shark lock on them is very strong and reliable, and it's a great cutter. Just an awesome tool. But again, it was the 20.5, not the 20S. So the 20S is here as a placeholder. I do apologize for that. It is my, it was the fat carbon version too, just in case anyone was wondering. If you're new to the channel, you'd probably have to either check my Instagram or you could look for the video, if I can't remember to link it, up at the top of the screen for you at a later time. Tuesday, I went with a Titanium Tuesday Duo. I had the Vero Engineering Impulse, and you are getting a little bit of a sneak peek here because I did anodize this, and I don't believe that I have that video up yet. So here's a little bit of a sneak peek where I just went through and did the hardware and backspacer just to kind of give it some accents. Really, I like the size of this knife. It's a much more fuller sized knife than the regular Synapse, but it's not as big as the Synapse XL. It has a great edge and it is very nice and slicey. This is a very good EDC blade as well. It's going to slice through a lot of the materials very nicely, and it's going to be able to stand up to more of your heavy duty tasks. Came with a very nice stone wash from the factory. I like that a lot. The edge was a little underwhelming from the factory, but it wasn't anything to throw it on the KME and put a little bit of a better edge on it. I did have to change the angle out. When I started to do it on the tip, I realized it was scuffing it up. So I did finish out the scuff just to give that contrast and make it look more even throughout the knife. But I like this a lot, and I have the Umazon and I have this impulse out of the Tontos, and it surprises me how well this tip, long as you can keep it sharp, works for those utility cuts and draw cuts and things of that nature. And it is super comfortable. I'm so glad that he changed the pocket clip design as well to have it flattened out here and get rid of the hard edges, because it is very comfortable in hand. Good access to that lock bar. I did throw a set of skiffs on this one just because I like skiffs bearings. They're solid cage bearings versus the hollow cage. You get a little bit more, in my opinion, stability in the pivot, although it may be very minute. It does have the flipper tab, which works really good. This came extremely well tuned from the factory, and the reverse flick works very well. If you're left-handed though, and I do believe that they're starting to come out with left-handed versions, because I think I saw Lefty EDC teasing that a little bit. Great knife, like it a lot. That was in the organizer in the pocket, believe it or not, that actually fit. And then in my fifth pocket, I carried the traditional pocket knives exclusive variant of the QSP Hedgehog with the jigged titanium scales and M390 blade. Great price on this knife, surprisingly hand filling, has a nice thin hollow grind. It is stupid thin behind the edge, very thin. This thing slices really well, which is great for getting into packages, cutting out the labels when I'm shipping things out, things of that nature. Has great walk and talk. I'm gonna bring it over to the mic. So great walk and talk on this. And again, it was the companion carry, which I kind of moved away from a little bit, but I did want to talk about this one a little bit, give you a little bit of a tease for the full review that'll be coming on this one. This was a cool little knife. And again, that was the companion carry. Let's take it over here to the side for Tuesday. On Wednesday, still in the office, I took a pair of what I would refer to in my carry as pocket droppers. First, in the organizer, I had the Roxy 3 for Warncliffe Wednesday, S35VN, very nice flat grind, came with a really good edge. All I've actually done with this one is drop it. I don't hard use this a lot, but I have used it to just break down an Amazon package so that it'll fit into the recycling bin. It is super comfortable for a small knife because it has that dedicated forward finger choil, and it is so chunky that it's actually really nice in hand. I mean, I can't tell you how much the Roxy 3 has just blown me away, like totally, absolutely blown me away and surprised me. I love the aesthetics, all blacked out with lightly bronzed hardware. I think that looks really good. Good complement to one another. The stone wash, or black wash I should say, has held up really well, but again, that's mostly because I'm getting into packages, maybe cutting some occasional loose string. Don't think I've really used this on any zip ties or anything, and then breaking down a box or cutting something small that doesn't require a lot of work. It has awesome access to the lock bar. You see how it's milled out, and because it's chunky, really good access. I did go ahead and finally flip the bearings and install a set of Rocket Glide bearings in there. Solid cage phosphor bronze ceramic bearings, really smooth. It is not like a fall shut knife because it's so light on the blade, but it certainly is smooth on deployment and going out. Multiple means of deployment with this one as well. Such a great knife. I can't believe how much I like that knife. It just works so well. Having said that, I also had in the fifth pocket, and yes, it does fit in the fifth pocket of my jeans. Like, I can drop it all the way in there without even having to engage the pocket clip. This is the Hyphen. There's a little bit of oil coming out there. And another one that has really surprised me. Everything that I said about the Roxy 3 almost holds true to this. This one's a little bit more thin and a little bit more narrow through the handles, but it is slightly contoured so that you do have a little bit of contouring there. And the forward finger choil is not quite as good as the one on the Roxy 3, but it is really, really good. And it does have a hollow ground 20 CV blade that has a very nice acid stone wash on it that looks really good. One thing that I'm noticing, my fault, right? Because I'm fidgeting with the knife so much, but the anodizing is starting to wear free on the studs. I'm not too worried about it though, because I can pretty easily match that color up and get it back. So not too hard to get that color. Thumb studs on here work really good. It has nice access to the lock bar. Sorry, I had my finger in the way for that deployment, but it has nice access to the lock bar. It doesn't look like it has much clearance, but the way that they kind of chamfered these out, you can really get the fingers in there quite easily, regardless of how you disengage it. I love this pocket clip. I'm sure it's part of the Gavco design, but if Civivi could do this on more of their knives or more of these on their knives, the knives, that would be awesome because it works really well, goes in and out of the pocket, and it feels super comfortable in hand. This is great, you know, getting in again into the packages. If you got the small boxes from Amazon or your favorite knife dealer, this is going to do just fine to break it down for your recycling bin, which is really, really good. Again, here I did go ahead and install a set of the skiff bearings in there for the solid caged ceramic bearings. I like that. And the knives, just something that I enjoy doing. Is the action noticeably different? Probably, really it isn't. But these two together on Wednesday in the fifth pocket in the organizer, great knives, really enjoying those a ton. Let's go ahead and keep it going. On Thursday, I had as my main carry another traditional pocket knife exclusive, and that is going to be the QSP Penguin Plus. They have the jigged pattern in the titanium M390 blade steel instead of 20 CV, and they have the titanium milled pocket clip instead of the wire pocket clip, which I honestly think just looks better. I think overall I like the look of that. Now, if you like a wire pocket clip, you're probably not going to agree. I just think that a milled titanium pocket clip looks better than a wire pocket clip, and it's a more premium material, right, to go along with everything else that's on here. I love the way the jigging plays with the light as you move it around. It looks really good. Gives you that added traction without being too invasive, meaning that it's not going to feel hot or uncomfortable in hand, but it's going to have spaces, little nooks and crannies for your hand to get into. You also can choke up on this a little bit to, again, get into your packages or any type of careful cuts, detail work that you want to do out on the tip, so that it works well for that. Initially, I wasn't thrilled about that. I almost wished they had left it off, but I actually am kind of glad they have it on there because it makes the Penguin Plus kind of a special creature in the lineup of the Penguins, because you have the mini, you have the regular, and then you have this one. And I believe all of the regular Penguins are only thumb hole or thumb stud deployment only, not thumb hole. I could not install skiffs here. These are a very unique spot size because it's such a thin profile. The skiffs here are very thin. They are 5mm pivots, but I think they're between 3/16 and 1mm. I can't remember that size right now off the top of my head. But this is such a great knife. I've loved that. I've had it in the rotation a whole lot since I've picked it up. Just a phenomenal, phenomenal knife. And I love that jigging on there. That was on the pants pocket. In the pocket organizer, I had my recently reacquired Sharp by Design Mini Tempest. I missed the old one, and I had to give up my Dawn to acquire, ironically, the 20S, because I try to keep a certain number of knives in there, and then I tried to balance spending what I spend on a knife by getting rid of a knife or a group of knives, just to help me offset the cost so I don't feel bad. I know I have the monetization and everything on the channel, but it really doesn't do that much as far as the inventory and trying to get through stuff. But anyway, having said all that, that was a long way around of saying that I really missed my Mini Tempest. I liked it a little bit better for the fact that it has better lock bar access than the Dawn had. So for larger hands, I actually like this one a little bit more, but the action is just a little bit smoother on this as well. The Dawn has really smooth hydraulic action, but I believe because it's so lightweight, the blade, it's not really a smooth fall shut like this one is. This one here, you almost don't even need to shake it. You just can gently move the knife and it wants to move on its own. I think both have equally good flipper tabs. I think that the fuller on the Dawn is a little bit better accessible for the reverse flick than it is on the Tempest. But I saw this one come up at a great price, and I had previously the twilled carbon fiber, and this one here has that dark matter with the blue accent on it, which I think looks really, really good. I went ahead and anodized the pivot screw to match it. I didn't really think that I want to do the pivot yet, but I may go back and do at least the lock bar screw, that same color blue, just to kind of match it up. I do plan on keeping it, so I really don't mind that I've modded it. And I, like I said, I don't think it'd be an issue even if I decided to move it along. Now for Friday's carry, I had a couple also. I had hanging in the pocket the Vero Engineering Synapse XL, and I'm realizing that I have run out of room. Now that those are moved over a little bit and I have the room, I like the Synapse XL. It is larger than the Impulse, as you can see, and it is actually longer than the 20S, but it has that nice girthy handle for me, and the flat grind is so tall that it's actually pretty decent behind the edge. I would say it has a medium geometry behind the edge. It does not thicken up really, really quick. It is nice and gradual. I did strop this up when I got it because I did pick it up used, and it's been fine. I knew that I had the bearings that I needed for the Impulse, but I don't have any more. I need to actually go back and order the skiffs for this one. But I mean, this thing has, because of the bigger blade and it's heavier, and it has a medium detent, it just really almost falls shut. Like almost don't even need to shake or move it. It just wants to fall. When I say it's a medium detent, feels lighter on the reverse flick than it does on the flipper tab. But I think part of that also having to be with due to the fact that it has such a large blade and so much weight to it that it does kind of make it feel a little sluggish coming out. Not a big fan of the red carbon fiber. I like the way that it looks, and I had some scales that were on here, but I really didn't like them that much more. I believe it was like the gold dark matter. And the more and more I had it on here, they were well done. Jay Dizzle did a great job. I just didn't think that I really liked that. So I went back to the red for a little bit just because I don't have much red in my inventory. But I don't know that I love these either. So I'm still kicking the tires on what I might do for scales. So that to Dave, before I forget, did, because this is the second generation, these were the ones that had the hot corners. I did send it to him and let him do his machining work on this, and it actually smoothed it out a ton, and it's super comfortable now. So you know that it's there, like you feel the presence, but it's no longer like hot on the corners. It doesn't feel like it's poking you. It's not super edgy, which I really do appreciate. And then in the pocket organizer, I have the Blue Creek knife exclusive Petrified Fish Scholar that has that Stormtrooper look to it because it's the white G10. And the dark, I know it's not black, but it's dark enough gray titanium accents that really look nice. And, you know, it surprises me how much I actually like this knife as well. I wouldn't have thought that I would have liked it. It was interesting, but it's really nice and comfortable. Again, getting into your packages, light cutting duties. It's very slicey. It's a hollow ground 154 cm blade, and it has a great factory edge. I've had to strop it already because I've been cutting with it so much, which has surprised me. Nice utility shape, very comfortable ergonomically. The way that it contours and the fact that it's chunky feels really good in hand. I did go ahead and throw a set of skiff bearings on this one as well. They did have the hollow caged ceramic bearings from the factory, and you can, because of the hollow grind, get enough of a lift on the finger to reverse flick it, in addition to the front flipper, which has great jimping and great action. So those were the pair for Friday. Let me know what you thought about my carry this week. Let me know what you've been carrying down below in the comments. I appreciate you tuning in for today's video. I love you guys. I hope you all have a fantastic week. Until next time, peace.